Hi, welcome to SPJK Technosoft, your one-stop training platform. Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome to SPJK Technosoft, your one-stop training platform for IT, pharma and other domain-specific areas. Hi, welcome to industry and domain-specific training, your one-stop training areas like ERP, SCM, CRM, finance, cloud technologies, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Salesforce. Big Data Technologies, Hadoop, Hi, welcome to HDFS, Hive, Pig, Apache Spark, HBase, Spark RDDs, Scala. Data Science, Python, R, Exploratory Data Analysis. Machine Learning Models, Supervised, Ensemble, Unsupervised, which covers in detail like regression, linear regression, multilinear, logistic regression, naive Bayes, KNN, decision trees, random forest, SVM, clustering, K-means, and many other machine learning and deep learning models. BI tools, Tableau, Microsoft Power BI testing tools like UFT, PC, Selenium, Tosca. Robotic process automation softwares like Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath. Statistics for data science, measure of central tendency, measure of spread and other techniques in statistics like F1 score, Z-score, precision, recall, ROC curve covered in details. Pharma course, pharmacovigilance and many more. DevOps tools like Salt, Git, Jenkins, Nagios, Ansible and many other tools. The trainers are industry experienced with more than 20 years in their specific domain, who have graduated from reputed universities across world like US, Australia, UK, etc. In order to learn all these courses in our SPJK Technosoft YouTube channel, do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get latest updates for free. Thank you and goodbye. Hi, welcome to SP. Hi, welcome to SPJK Technosoft, your one-stop platform for IT, pharma and domain-specific trainings. Hope you are safe and healthy. As pharma industry is booming now, so SPJK Technosoft is organizing free webinar on pharmacovigilance on the 13th of September 2020, Sunday at 4 p.m. The resource person for this webinar is Ms. Lakshmi, who is having more than 10 years of experience in pharma industry. Topics to be covered in this webinar are: what is pharmacovigilance, eligibility criteria for pharmacovigilance career, career opportunities of pharmacovigilance in pharma industry, training programs related to pharmacovigilance. This webinar will be useful for those who have some life science degree, mostly B Pharma, M Pharm or BAM or MBBS. There will no registration fees for this webinar. E-certificate will be provided to the registered participants, those who have submitted the feedback form after the webinar session. For registration of this webinar, please visit link below and the links provided in the description page of this video. Those who registered this webinar will get the Zoom meeting link to attend the webinar through email or WhatsApp or Telegram. Please don't forget to subscribe our SPJK Technosoft channel and press the bell icon to get latest trending technology videos for free. Should you need more information about the relevant courses, please contact us at info@spjktechnosoft.com. Please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you and goodbye.
I hope I'm audible. So we'll just wait for a couple of more minutes for others to come, others to join.
Hi, welcome to SPJK Technosoft, your one-stop platform for IT, pharma and domain-specific trainings. Hope you are safe and healthy. As pharma industry is booming now, so SPJK Technosoft is organizing free webinar on pharmacovigilance on the 13th of September 2020, Sunday at 4 p.m. The resource person for this webinar is Ms. Lakshmi, who is having more than 10 years of experience in pharma industry. Topics to be covered in this webinar are: what is pharmacovigilance, eligibility criteria for pharmacovigilance career, career opportunities of pharmacovigilance in pharma industry, training programs related to pharmacovigilance. This webinar will be useful for those who have some life science degree, mostly B Pharma, M Pharm or BAM or MBBS. There will no registration fees for this webinar. E-certificate will be provided to the registered participants, those who have submitted the feedback form after the webinar session. For registration of this webinar, please visit link below and the links provided in the description page of this video. Those who registered this webinar will get the Zoom meeting link to attend the webinar through email or WhatsApp or Telegram. Please don't forget to subscribe our SPJK Technosoft channel and press the bell icon to get latest trending technology videos for free. Should you need more information about the relevant courses, please contact us at info@spjktechnosoft.com. Please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you and goodbye.
Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to this webinar. I'm Harshini HR from SPJK Technosoft. Today, we are going to conduct a webinar on pharmacovigilance. And here is our SME, our subject matter expert, Ms. Lakshmi, who has more than 10 years of experience in pharma industry. So she is going to conduct the webinar. Hope you all enjoy it. And now, without taking much of your time, I'll be handing over to Ms. Lakshmi. Thank you. Lakshmi, over to you for the webinar.
Thank you, Harshini. So hi, everyone. My name is Lakshmi, and I have an overall experience of 10 years in pharmacovigilance. 10 years ago, I started my career after doing a similar course in pharmacovigilance. So I got placed in an MNC, and I started my career as a case processor. Within 1 year, I moved as a quality reviewer, and right now I'm a team manager with a team of around 150 associates under me. So that is about me. So hope I'm audible to everybody, right? Can you please confirm? You can use the chat option for answering. Okay, great. So before I move into the slides or the topic, may I know how many of you are not from B Pharm, M Pharm, or PharmD? So I'll repeat my question. How many of you are not from pharma background? Not from PharmD, B Pharmacy, or M Pharmacy? Any other backgrounds do we have? So yeah, I see one response, Santosh Kumar. So what is your graduation, Santosh? Okay. Okay, great. So everybody, I'm assuming everybody else is from pharma because I didn't get any other responses. Okay, so let's move on. I'll start sharing my screen. So are you able to see my screen? So before I move into what is actually pharmacovigilance, so each one of us have used medicines at some point of time, right, in our lives, or we might have seen a family member taking a drug on a daily basis. For example, a thyroid medication taken on a daily basis, or an insulin injection taken on a daily basis, right? So we all know that every pharmaceutical product has a side effect, right? So what is a side effect? So a side effect is an unintended effect occurring at normal dose related to pharmacological products, right? A side effect that occurs in is something that occurs in 1% or more of the people that are taking the specific medication. So a side effect can be anything, say a nausea or a headache or bleeding, muscle pain, anything. Our most common thing among some of the population is penicillin allergy, right? So when somebody is taking a medication, how will this data be collected? What happens to this side effect that we are observing? This entire study is called as pharmacovigilance. So pharmacovigilance is nothing but it is derived from a Greek word with pharmakon, which is drug, and a Latin word vigilare, which means to keep watch. That means we are keeping a watch on the drug. So pharmacovigilance is also abbreviated as PV or PHV, and is also known as drug safety. It is basically the pharmacological science relating to collection, detection, assessment, monitoring, and prevention of adverse effects with pharmaceutical products. So what happens is, say for example, in a particular day around the world, n number of people are taking paracetamol, for example. Okay, so this particular paracetamol may work for some, may not work for some, right? Or it may cause some side effects in some, say for example, a nausea in some of the population, dizziness in some of the population, right? So how do we collect this information? Because it is, say for example, thousands of people across the world, right? So we have to collect that this particular population is having nausea, this particular population is having dizziness. We have to collect it first, and then we have to detect it, and we have to assess it if these particular side effects are really related to paracetamol or not, right? And monitor them. And also we have to take all steps for preventing the adverse effects with the pharmaceutical products. So this is called pharmacovigilance. Clear till now? Just give me a minute. Okay, great. So everybody, if you would just respond in the chat that you're able to understand, it would be great. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, thank you so much. So let's move on. So what happened was prior to 1968, there were no regulations on the use of pharmaceutical products. So in 1950s, there was a major tragedy that happened, which is the thalidomide tragedy. So how many of you all know what is thalidomide tragedy? Great. So most of you know what is thalidomide tragedy. So what happened with this tragedy? So a particular drug, which is thalidomide, was given to pregnant women for stopping morning sickness, right? So what happened? The result was after the babies were born, they were born with sealed limbs, right? So when this thalidomide was used, there were no proper regulations on the drug use. So drugs were given freely, and it led to a lot of side effects or the adverse events, right? So after the thalidomide tragedy and around the thalidomide tragedy, also there were a lot of other tragedies that happened, like the sulfonamide tragedy and many others. So that is when all the countries decided that there should be a regulation for pharmaceutical products use. So that is when they introduced the concept of pharmacovigilance. So moving on. So why is pharmacovigilance needed? And pharmacovigilance works throughout the life cycle of a medicinal product. So it starts right from phase 1 of clinical trials till the product is in the market. Pharmacovigilance is done from the beginning till the life cycle of the medicinal product in the market. So why we do pharmacovigilance? Because it monitors the activity of the pharmaceutical products and evaluates the safety profile in order to ensure safety of patient and public health. So pharmacovigilance main aim is to protect the safety of the patient and public health. So what are the needs for pharmacovigilance? So first thing that a pharmacovigilance needs is scientific development. So as and when more and more drugs are, introduced into the market, there is a need for pharmacovigilance because we have to continuously monitor the drug which is there in the market or which is being tested in the, patients or the healthy volunteers, right? So that is scientific development. And the second major need is technology and support tools. So once we, collect the data, we have to, put it in some database and, organize it in a way that, you can submit it to the health authorities, right? So that is why we need major technology and support tools. So for doing all this, we need capacity. We need people who are willing to do this, who are experienced to do this, and who are qualified to do this. So that is capacity building. So all three are interrelated, and pharmacovigilance cannot go ahead without any one of these. So these are the major terminologies in pharmacovigilance. So the first one is adverse drug reaction. So what is an adverse drug reaction, which is also abbreviated as ADR? A response to a drug which is noxious and unintended and which occurs at doses normally used in man for prophylaxis, diagnosis, or therapy of diseases or for modification of physiological function. A causal relationship between a medicinal product and an adverse event is at least a reasonable possibility. Okay, so for adverse drug reaction, there should be a reasonable possibility between the medicinal product and the adverse event. Okay, that means it should be at least possible. And adverse event, any untoward medical occurrence in a patient or clinical investigation subject administered a pharmaceutical product and which does not necessarily have a causal relationship with the treatment. So you understand the difference between these two, right? ADR, there should be a reasonable possibility. Adverse event, it does not necessarily have a causal relationship with the treatment. I'll give you one example. So this is a generic labeling of one particular, medicinal product. So you see this warning section here, taking more than a daily dose of paracetamol may cause serious liver damage or allergic reactions, swelling of the face, mouth and throat, difficulty in breathing, itching or rash, right? So what does this mean? Everybody, what does this mean? Am I audible? Okay, so Yashraj says not fit medicine. Any other responses? It's okay if you don't know, but try to, give answers. Anybody else? Okay, so let's move on. So see, this means that if somebody is taking paracetamol and he develops swelling of the face, okay, that means it's already known that if you're taking more than the daily dose of paracetamol, that person will get swelling of the face. So that means the swelling of the face, which is the adverse event that the patient had, is related to this particular cetirizine, right? So that means it is an ADR, which is actually the definition. You understand now? So another example for adverse event, if the patient is taking cetirizine, okay, and he falls down, okay. So this falling down is also considered an event for pharmacovigilance. That means it should be databased, but it might not be related to cetirizine, right? Whereas swelling of the face is definitely related to the AD, the cetirizine that we are taking. Understand it now? Great. Okay, so moving on. So now that you understand adverse drug reaction and adverse event, there's something else called serious adverse event or serious adverse drug reaction. So what is serious adverse event? So any untoward medical occurrence that occurs at any dose which results in death, is life-threatening, requires inpatient hospitalization, results in persistent or significant disability, is a congenital anomaly or birth defect, and is medically significant. Now, take the same example. If a patient is taking cetirizine and he experienced swelling, and the swelling was so severe that he had to be hospitalized, okay, so then this swelling is a hospitalized event, so this becomes a serious adverse event, right? Or say the thalidomide tragedy. So in the thalidomide case, the babies were born with congenital anomalies or birth defects, right? So that also becomes a serious adverse event, right? So similarly, if the patient died after taking one particular pharmaceutical product, then that also becomes a serious adverse event. Now, what is medically significant? Medically significant is something which does not fit into any of the 5 mentioned here, okay, but is actually a serious event. For example, say a fracture. So fracture, might not always require hospitalization, might not be life-threatening. It won't, uh, might not result in death. Okay, and it might not, have a significant disability or a congenital. It's not a congenital anomaly, right? But still, fracture is serious, right? So that becomes a medically significant. Anything which doesn't fit into any of these five, but is still serious, is medically significant. So moving on to the next one, which is the causality assessment. So we already spoke about the label, right? So the label. So what is this label? So it is telling that there is some relationship between this drug and then this adverse event, right? So that is causality. So for example, if I'm taking tramadol, okay, just an example, and I experience nausea, okay. So first dose I take tramadol, and then I experience nausea. Then again it goes down in 1 or 2 hours, and then again I take a second dose in another 12 hours, and again I experience nausea. So what I do is I stop taking the drug next day, okay, and I do not get the nausea, okay. So this is called a de-challenge, kind of way to identify if it's related to the product or not. So next day again I reintroduce the drug, okay, and again I experience nausea. So what do you identify based on this? Okay, Meghna says interaction. Okay, any other answers? Drug as side effect. Okay, any other answers? See, first thing, I identified a side effect with the with tramadol, right? First thing. So what I do, I am trying to identify if it is related to the product or not, right? So what I did, I stopped taking the drug, so I did not get the nausea after I stopped taking the drug. But after I reintroduced it, again I got nausea. So that means this particular nausea is directly related to the medicinal product that I'm taking, right? So this is a causality assessment. So this is how I assess if this medicinal product is causing my event. Understood? Okay, great. Okay, so many yeses, fine. Okay, now next topic is the labeling part. So have you heard about the labeling? So what is labeling? Okay, I'm not sure of the name. Somebody says no. Can anybody of you tell me what do you understand by labeling? Dosage. Labeling contains all necessary details. Exactly, Shivani. Any other answers? Okay, so See, this is one kind of a label, okay, where the manufacturer is putting a warning, okay, saying that this is expected with this particular drug, right? So every manufacturer conducts clinical trials. So what happens in these clinical trials is they are, assessing the effectiveness and safety of the medicinal product, right? During these clinical trials, they observe a lot of side effects or adverse events that might occur because of the medicinal products. So all that they will enter into documents called as labeling documents. Okay, so example of some of the labeling documents are CCDS, which is company code data sheet, which is a global document, and SMPC, summary of product characteristics, regional EMA or European country specific document, USPI, which is the United States prescribing information, which is again a country specific document for USA, Japanese prescribing information, which is again a country specific document for Japan, Canadian monographs, which is a country specific document for Canada, and investigators brochure. This is very, very important. And investigators brochure is, only used for only developmental stage medicinal products. So I will show you one example of that too. Okay, so it looks something like this. So whatever whatever adverse events that I already know, okay, will be entered into this company code data sheet. So it will have the approved, dosage, approved, formulation, approved concentration. Then it will also have the approved indications and, the route of administration that it has to be given. Everything related to the medicinal product will be entered into the company code data sheet and the labeling documents. And whatever information we already have for the product will be entered into the labeling document. So moving on, the pharmacovigilance life cycle. So anybody knows what is an individual case safety report? Okay. So Dr. Ravi Shekhar code with details. Okay. So individual case safety report is nothing but a special document. So see, for example, if I am taking a paracetamol, like I said, and I have nausea, okay. So what I do, I report it to the manufacturer that saying that I'm taking your medicinal product and I have this nausea, right? So how do I do it? I do it in a specific document and then I send it to the respective manufacturer. So who all can report? Anybody can report. I can report, you can report, health authority can report, or a patient can report, HCP can report, anybody can report an adverse event to the manufacturer. Now, when a HA or a company or a manufacturer receives a individual case safety report, this ICSR is first collected from various sources, and then it is processed into the safety database, which is usually Argus or RSG databases that we use. So all this data that we receive in the ICSR will be put into the database. Then you will organize the data and you will generate a narrative. Narrative is nothing but you write everything in chronology, how it happened, how it all the details regarding causality, action taken, everything into a narrative, and then you log the case. So once the case is logged, it gets submitted to the health authority. Okay, so this is one part of pharmacovigilance. And so if you are starting your life in career in pharmacovigilance, you will start as a case processor, and this is where what you will handle in the initial stages. You will handle the ICSRs. You will handle the individual case safety reports, enter it into a database. Okay, so the next step in pharmacovigilance life cycle is the aggregate data analysis. Now, what happens in aggregate reports is right here, individual case safety reports is one document for each of the patient at a specific point of time, right? But aggregate data analysis is a consolidated report for one particular product. Now, what happens here is, say, for example, from 1st of Jan till 30th of June, okay, for the product of cetirizine, if I have 5,000 reports in the, in the 6-month period, so I will take all this 5,000 reports, put it in one consolidated report. Okay, I will write all the narratives in each of these 5,000 cases, and also I will give line listings and tabulations, and all the data about this 5,000 will be there in this single aggregate report. That means it is a summarized report. Okay, so this also is submitted in quarterly basis or yearly basis to the health authorities. Now, few examples of aggregate reports are PSURs, which is periodic safety update reports, DSURs, which is developmental safety update reports, PEDRs, PEBRs, summary bridging reports. So these are a few examples of aggregate reports. Now, the third stage of pharmacovigilance is signal detection. Now, what we do in signal detection is we detect a new signal and confirm that it is a new signal. So, so in layman terms, a signal is something which we have not identified before. Okay, so that means we don't have information that this particular event can come with this product. Okay, it's a new signal. So how we detect it as a signal is we perform different statistical methods to identify a signal, and after we identify it, so this particular identification is called signal evaluation. So signal evaluation is actually done to confirm if it is a true signal or a false signal. So if it is confirmed as a true signal, then we move on to the next stage, which is the risk management plan. So what is a risk management plan? It is nothing but a document prepared to identify the risk. So a risk is first characterized based on intensity and the rarity. So how rare is the risk, and what is the intensity? So these two criteria, based on we take the necessary actions. So everything that we do in pharmacovigilance is only to minimize the risk to the patient. So that is the main aim of pharmacovigilance. The patient health and safety should be good, right? So we also identify if the benefit versus risk ratio. So every time the benefit should be more than the risks. If the risks are more, and if it is before the marketing stage, we identify that the risks are more, there will be no approval given to the medicinal product. And if it is after the product is already in the market, then the drug will be recalled if the health authorities identify that the risks are more than the benefits. So who are all qualified for joining pharmacovigilance? So any life science graduate, including M.Pharm.C, B.Pharm.C, human or veterinary medicine, nursing, biochemistry as graduates, biotechnology graduates, microbiology graduates, or allied health services graduates also can, are qualified for pharmacovigilance career. So these are the different roles in pharmacovigilance. So everybody would start as case processing experts, and you can either move to become a senior drug safety associate, and then become a quality reviewer, and then move on to become a subject matter expert, and then you will become a team lead, and you will have a team where you will manage the subject matter experts in quality reviews and the case processing experts. And then you can move on as a team manager, where you will manage the entire team, and then you can become a project manager. So this is one way of your career growth. And the other way, if you are not interested in case processing after you do 2 years, then you can move on to become a medical writer, or you can move to aggregate reports team, and you can also move to database support team. So database support team is nothing but Argus or RSG, which is the databases that we actually work on. So it also needs updating on a regular basis, and it also needs many things to be done from the back end. So you can move on to that team, which is similar to the IT role. And you can also handle case submissions. So after the case is logged, nowadays Argus automatically generates the reports, but few reports actually fail and don't get submitted to the health authorities. So that is when the case submissions team come into picture. They manually submit the cases. So why pharmacovigilance as a career? One major reason is rising drug consumption due to prevalence of increasing chronic diseases. And pharmacovigilance is a growing career with an ever increasing demand. And this is one of the safest careers which is not hit by recession. Even during COVID-19 lockdown stage, where everybody was losing jobs, pharmacovigilance is one of the industry where we have hired a lot of people, because we are using more and more drugs now because of COVID, and many drugs are in the developmental stages. We are building capacity to increase to expect more and more volumes coming in. So this is the course agenda. So overview of clinical trials, process of drug discovery and development, phases of clinical trials, IND approval and NDA approval. International organizations and regulatory agencies in PV will be discussed. So a brief about regulatory authorities and their reporting systems will be given. So understanding databases, an overview of RSG and Argus databases will be given. So ICH overview also will be provided, PV perspective, history of ICH guidelines, and among the ICH guidelines, QS-EM guidelines, and also E6 GCP guidelines and E2 pharmacovigilance guidelines and multidisciplinary guidelines will be discussed. So also basics of pharmacovigilance, sources of report and overview of pharmacovigilance will be discussed. Adverse drug reactions, the difference between adverse drug reactions and adverse drug events, risk factors, adverse drug reaction classification, serious adverse events, individual case safety reports, introduction to ICSR, sources of ICSR, regulatory timelines also will be discussed. Labeling assessment, types of labeling documents and its purpose, causality assessment, de-challenge and re-challenge. Narrative writing, prerequisites of narrative writing, narrative content, structure and follow-up narrative, overview of aggregate safety reporting, purpose, sources and types of aggregate reporting, signal detection, definition, sources and significance of signal detection, risk management, which is overview of risk management will be provided, and an overview of GBP modules will be given. So also I would like to add on one point here. So if you join the course, then you will also get a hands-on on Argus database. You will be given the credentials for using Argus, so that you will have hands-on experience, which the companies need right now. During interviews also, they will be asking a lot of questions on product coding or specific details that you would only know if you are working on the database, which is an additional feature. So any questions? So, okay, so there's one question. Do we even report known side effect of a drug? Yes, we do report a known side effect. In fact, any adverse event or any side effect that they're reporting, we actually report it to the health authorities. Any other questions? So how to join? So the SPJK Technosoft, you can connect with them, Santosh, and they will give you all the details. Any other questions? I hope everything I discussed is clear. If you want to, if you want me to revisit any topic, I can do that for you. Okay, thank you all. I hope I've discussed most of the topics on pharmacovigilance.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hope you have enjoyed the session. For any queries, please write to us. We'll get back to you. Thank you.